and thank you for watching me and my migraine continuously grow. Today, just wanted to catch you guys up. I have went over all the wiring that I can pretty much put together and pull off of the internet and service manuals. I have dropped the ECU and tested between continuity between wires up under there and wires up under the hood there, and it doesn't seem like there's any issues in the wiring, yet my vehicle is still running lean of some sort, and it's all registering more so over to that bank 1. So where am I at now that I have tested and found a whole new junction box where there is actually an O2 sensor fuse? If you don't know, I'll show you that here in just a minute. But what I did pick up just from the auto parts store is ultra red gasket maker high temp. But I did need something that was kind of high temperature because I am looking on the online service manual and it says that there's a possible intake leak. So I tightened up the top side of the intake manifold. I didn't get the one on bottom there, so I did the top one, didn't do the bottom one. Now I'm going for the bottom one today, and there might be a split on one of them. I mean, I pulled the whole seat out over here and made sure that I checked every ground, and I'm trying my best to do everything that I can to check the circuitry within here. And it seems like it's getting power, and it's just it's not set. It's still it's doing its wiggle thing, and it's proper wiggle dance that O2 sensors do, but it is not wanting to dance in the right zone. It's like that dance crew that's really good, but they just can't stay on stage or something. I don't know. So I also think that the right door likes to attack me as well. So yes, I got this all torn apart, and like I said, I even went through the wiring enough to where I found the fuse block back here by the battery, the IPDM that everybody has never heard of. People have heard of it if you own a Z. It's notorious for going out. I'm really hoping it's not that or something I can fix internally, but regardless, the fuse, which I don't know if I can show you that. Yes, I can. Of course I can. All right, so that one right above the gap and to the right. Okay, that 15. Right there. Okay, that one is the one for the O2 sensor. So if you don't have a circuitry to your O2 sensors, that might be the actual fuse itself that deals with the O2 sensors. Lucky for me, I have power going to it, and I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but I have 76 ohms of resistance in that wire, which I think is why it's there, because it wants to step it down, the voltage between that battery and then going into the ECU, because as far as I know, ECUs do not like to handle 12 volts. They like 5 volt signals, which is pretty much where a lot of these sensors on these cars are running off of, or 5 volts or 3 volts, maybe less. But the ECU doesn't usually like to handle 12 volt signals, as far as I know. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it, with the wiring. I tried checking in between that little connector for the actual O2 sensor there. I checked in between there to the fuse, and I checked the power as well on the number 3, which there's like 6, I think, or something like that. So the top side middle one is supposed to have power, and then I think it goes through the actual O2 sensor and then comes back through the bottom one. So if this is number 3, then it would be, I think it was number 4 right below it, right down here. Not this one over here, but this one. I just got back from the parts store. Like I said, it's a nice 77-degree day outside. It is beautiful today, don't get me wrong. It is wonderful. But it takes a minute for my motor to kind of cool down. So what I'm going to do is put gloves on and probably burn myself. I'm going to go ahead and take this apart while it's hot, because why not? No time like the present. So I'm going to get to that and start taking the top side of this intake off, and as I go along, I'm gonna keep trying to check for any type of intake manifold gasket leak or crack anywhere maybe that I can't see from up here, because the service manual now says that the P2A00 code would be more towards the intake side of a leak or a bad fuel injector. eBay does have a set of green ones which would lovely match that so well. Not caring about performance, right? Anyway, there are green ones on here that would match the intake, and I think it was only like 50 bucks. At this point, I just didn't want to wait for the product. The last couple products I've been having issues with the tracking and trying to get the products here correctly and everything. So yeah, side note for anybody wondering on the 350Z, the main body grounds follows. This one behind the driver's side is a main body ground, which I couldn't get to without taking a whole bunch off, but this one, I cleaned that one up. That is a main body ground. This one by the battery, that is an aftermarket battery cable. Not the greatest. Effective though. That one down there is a main body ground, and then there's one more. And there's one more behind here. I do not have it did not come with the navigation. So, ow! My body ground was right there. That one that hooks into this connector right there, that is the main body grounds for the 350Z. So, yeah. Navigation, I think it was, the other one was behind here, is where the main body ground was, but I'm not for sure because I don't have that model, especially right here in front of me. But I just wanted to let you guys know where the main body grounds are if you guys are ever looking for them. Alright, so I've got that torn down pretty quick. So I don't have any kind of cracks or anything in the manifold that I can see. What I did notice is this is the gasket right there. There is one more gasket set up under there that I might go after, but then I'd have to raise the fuel rail up and everything. What I did notice is, yeah, there it is. You can kind of see the oil residue, and that's seeping quite a bit. Now this is a multi-layer steel kind of gasket. I don't know if you can catch an eye on that or not. Yeah, kind of like on the end here, you can see how it's layered there. So it's a multi-layer steel gasket, and yet for some odd reason it's wet there, it's wet there. So I see a lot of wetness where the PVC, positive crankcase ventilation, PCV, should be running and spewing the extra oil that's atomized up back into the intake, and that's where that oil is coming from. But for some odd reason, it is going through that gasket, which may be the area where I couldn't get the brake cleaner to go into. Pretty much right where that seal is, where you see that motor right there. That is where I'm saying it might be actually leaking from. So it may not have been a lot. It may be just enough to set it off. So maybe if I let the car sit for a year or so, it'll just positively be a intake leak. But as of for right now, it's not, and it's just making things a little bit lean. Somewhere past the mass airflow sensor here is a leak to the intake, and somewhere up here. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I'm just gonna try and pull it up and over and see if I can get this to if I can clean up the bottom side and get those two gaskets made from the red intake manifold gasket maker, because that's gonna be what I'm using today. So it may be that lower side still, for intake leak. So Alright, now that I got the lower intake manifold gasket, or lower intake apart, kind of held up there in suspension by my lovely ratcheting or extendable, you know, telescopic ratchet there. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check the gaskets down below and remake those, but yeah, that's where I wanted to go down to see about any kind of a leak down on that gasket of any sort, especially like this side. So I'm gonna be looking into that real closely and seeing about it. That'll be that. I'm gonna go ahead, yeah, and get this all cleaned up and try to pretty much start using that red RTV that I have laying around here somewhere. Okay, here we are, already out of the package. I'm gonna try and use that and start placing that. Well, I'm gonna take those old gaskets off there or whatever down below and see about resealing all of that up with this in hopes to maybe solve that intake leak on this side or something, because it's frustrating. If I was a YouTuber, I might try to, like, you know, sponsor, get better help at this point, because my goodness, this is becoming a migraine a little bit. But regardless, going after it, because determination is the key. Never give up. So I'm gonna go ahead and see about ripping this down and cleaning up the gasket area and starting to put it back together in hopes that that intake leak, if it's an intake leak, is fixed to where my O2 sensor will read in the right range, because it's wiggling right, but it's just down below wiggling right. It should be mid-range wiggling right, but it's down here. So hopefully, yeah, that's what it is or whatever, but I'm just gonna keep at it like a car addict. So yeah, I mean, seriously, like, look at that waveform. Like, that is beautiful. That is exactly what I want, but not in the right range.